Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of 100 Films in 100 Days. I believe this is episode like 23 or 24 or something like that. So, I've got a new episode and I saw a movie today. I know you guys are going to be freaking out like, oh my god, he's released another review. It's only been like 2 days since his last review. He hasn't cheated us that much. So, I bet you're wondering, what movie did I watch today? I watched David Byrne's True Stories, also just known as True Stories. Now this film was directed by David Byrne, and David Byrne is the lead singer of the band The Talking Heads, or Talking Heads. I always mess it up. Let me check. I actually have a Talking Heads album right here with me. Here's the box for the Blu-ray, in case you were wondering. Turns out it was actually upside down. So yeah, here's the Talking Heads, here's my Talking Heads album. So yeah, there is no the. I got this recently. I'm working on my record collection a little bit, even though my film collection really takes precedent over that, but yeah. So you may be wondering what this film's about. This film is really David Byrne's encapsulation of small town life in America. This is his view on American life and the small town charm, and it really just shows. What I learned throughout the film is just how weird and crazy and bizarre living in a small town in America really is. But at the same time, it's kind of beautiful. It's really just, there's just something so great about it. There's something that can't be replicated. Now, if you know much about Byrne's musical career, he is very much about doing very experimental and interesting and very creative music, and Talking Heads were considered among the first alternative bands of all time. They were a very influential new wave band. I love a lot of their music. I want to get more and more deep into their discography, as you will. So, yeah. The film is centered around a small town in Texas called Virgil, Texas, which is having their sesquicentennial anniversary, which is the 50 years of the town being in existence. No, it's 150. No, 50. 50 years, because the state of Texas was having its 150. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, this is an important town. This is an important event for them. And it just sort of has all sorts of different people around the town and just their lives. And it just kind of shows, it's just bizarre, but it is very cool, I think. Byrne himself is our narrator and also is in the film. And also we sort of follow him around the film. Not all the time. Other times we follow around Louis Fine, played by Mr. John Goodman, a very young John Goodman, as he is trying to find love. He's trying to find a wife. And he's a very bizarre character too, because he is a singer who also works at the computer company. They make computer chips in this town. That's what they're famous for. And he works there, but he also wants to find love, and he wants to find a wife, and he puts out advertisements about how he wants a wife. He has a big old sign right next to his house saying he wants a wife, and he just seems like a bizarre dude. And the whole film is littered with a whole bunch of interesting and bizarre people, which, when you live in a small town like this, really is the reality. Like, you have your, like, really weird person, you have the person that everyone knows about, and then everyone, and a big thing is also small town gossip. Now, small town gossip is a very popular thing in the United States, especially the southeastern United States, or I guess this would be South Central United States. I don't want to say Midwestern, because that's more north, but like Texas is its own region. Like that Texas, Oklahoma area is like its own separate region. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of weird cast of characters. There's the owner of the company that makes the computer chips, who him and his wife don't speak to each other directly. They speak to their daughter, who then speaks to the other person, even though they're sitting right there and can hear him, which is very bizarre. I think that's a little bit of a commentary on like broken marriages and like dysfunctional families, I think. Also, there's the very rich lady who has so much money that she doesn't need to get out of bed, so she spends all of her time in bed. And then there's the lady, of course, the queen of gossip, who has all these stories of how people are paying, like she was supposed to be famous, but she's still living in this little small town. And, she was gonna marry Burt Reynolds and all this stuff, and all these things were gonna happen, and nothing came of it, and she's just a bizarre person. Everyone who lives in a small town has this sort of person who thinks that they're the big fish in a small pond when they really aren't. And then, of course, you always have to have your voodoo charmer, you know, in a movie like this. You gotta have some voodoo in there, man. Now, center point of the film is the songs. There's like several songs throughout the film. It's a musical film. Not quite, because the character, you know, not all the characters get up and start singing. Some of them do, but it's a musical. The music plays a focal point of the film, and the opening song, the first song that's played at the nightclub, or I guess nightclub bar sort of thing, was Wild Wild Life by Talking Heads. Which actually became a very famous song later on, well, not later on, but at the time, because of this film. It garnered a lot of attention, and it's definitely my favorite song of the film. I also think my second favorite song of the film would be the song that John Goodman sings at the very end at the talent show. And he also, they do this talent show at the end where he's trying to impress a woman so he can get a wife. And he ends up actually marrying the extremely rich woman who doesn't get out of bed. Oh, another one of my favorite scenes is the scene where there is a crazy conspiracy theorist priest, or preacher. I guess not a priest because he's not Catholic. He'd be a preacher if he's like Baptist or whatever. Yeah, he thinks that like there's a new world order and like there's a secret cabal of like people controlling the world, which there is. There isn't actually, I'm just making a joke, but I love messing with those little conspiracy theorist people. They're hilarious, man. But yeah, that's a really good and really funny song. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say about this film. This was a weird thing, I think, to be put in the Criterion Collection, because even though it has a lot of interesting commentary and a lot of interesting creative stuff to say. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, David Byrne, I didn't realize his speaking voice sounded just like his singing voice. Which his singing voice, that sounds a little bit interesting and off, but I thought that was just a voice he was playing. He talks the same way, and he talks extremely weirdly monotone throughout the film. It's very bizarre and off-putting, but strangely extremely charismatic, and I actually kind of like it. But yeah, overall it's a good film. There's not much for me to say about it. It's not really much of an art film, because I usually think a Criterion Collection, well, actually, no, I take that back. This is definitely worthy being on the Criterion Collection. I thought about it a little bit more just now. And, does have a lot of really interesting, really creative artistic elements, and it really is something that deserves to be more remembered better. Not just for who made it, the musicians who made it, but for what it is as a film. It has good songs, it has an interesting plot, it has good characters. I liked it. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. No, I take that back. I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5. So that was my review of True Stories, also known as David Byrne's True Stories. You should definitely check it out. You should definitely check out Talking Heads and all their discography. Now for tomorrow's review, what am I going to be watching? It is not just going to be me this time. It is going to be me and my girlfriend Ella. We are going to be watching the Kill Bill movies. We've already watched the first one. We're going to hopefully watch the second one tonight. And then we will come together and make a singular review, because I've seen both the movies. I love them both, but she'd never seen them, and now she wants to be in my review. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to do it. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Make sure to check down in the description. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you look down in the description, you'll see my Letterboxd, all my friends' Letterboxd, my friend Isaac Taylor's YouTube channel. Definitely make sure to subscribe to him. He's an awesome guy. So have fun. Have a good day. And I will see you guys tomorrow.